You don't realize how long you've been erased until someone finally says it out loud. I'm Claire Brennan, and it took me 4 years to understand that my family didn't push me out overnight. They'd been practicing the motion for so long that when it finally happened, their hands barely shook. The message came on a Wednesday. Not a call, a text. I was reviewing invoices for a corporate gala when my phone lit up. My mother's name, one line. We think it's best if you sit this one out. I stared at the screen, reread it, waited for context that never came. Then my father's name appeared. His message was shorter. Your presence complicates things. I was 32 years old. I ran a small events company in Portland called Brennan Co., named after my middle name because at 23, after I left college, my father told me I'd never build anything worth remembering. I decided he was right about one thing: I wouldn't use his name to do it. That was 9 years ago. Now I employed 6 people. We handled mid-tier weddings, product launches, alumni dinners, nothing flashy, just reliable work that paid on time. My younger sister Natalie was getting married in 10 days. I had been planning her wedding for 7 months. Quietly, carefully, using my vendor relationships to secure pricing no one else could access. I'd put everything on my business accounts: the venue, the caterer, the florals, the band, with a plan to reconcile costs later. It was supposed to be my gift to her. I looked down at my desk. The planning binder sat open, contracts signed in navy ink, deposit receipts clipped to the inside cover. My assistant, Jordan, was at the next desk, headphones on, typing. I read both messages again. Something settled in my chest, not anger, something quieter. I typed 4 words back to my mother. So I'm the problem now. Then I opened my contact list and started making calls. Because here's what my mother had forgotten: I was the one holding every contract. What I'm about to tell you didn't happen in a single afternoon. It unfolded over 10 days, in small moments that felt like nothing at the time. But when I look back now, I can see exactly when the floor gave way. 7 months earlier. Natalie called me in tears. She'd just gotten engaged to Ryan Calloway, and our mother had already started planning. The Calloways were old Portland money, quiet wealth, the kind of family that didn't announce their donations but had their names engraved on museum wings. Natalie wanted something small, our mother wanted something noticed. I don't know what to do, Natalie said on the phone. Her voice was small. Mom's already talking to venues I can't afford. I made an offer without thinking. Let me handle it. I'll coordinate everything. I know people. I can get you the wedding you actually want. She exhaled. Claire, I can't ask you to. You're not asking, I'm offering. She cried again, thanked me, said I was the best sister she could have asked for. I believed her. 6 months earlier. The Calloways hosted an engagement dinner at their home. It wasn't a country club. It was worse: understated elegance that didn't need to try, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, soft lighting, a dining table that had been in the family for generations. My mother wore a new dress, pearl earrings. She'd practiced her posture in the hallway mirror before we left. I drove separately. I wore something I already owned. Margaret Calloway found me first. She was in her early 60s, silver hair, calm voice. She asked what I did. I told her about the business. She asked questions, real ones, about cash flow, about vendor reliability, about how I'd built client trust. She listened the way most people don't. Across the room, I saw my mother watching us. Her smile was fixed, her hands were still. My Aunt Linda appeared at my mother's elbow, whispered something. My mother nodded. At the end of the night, Margaret touched my arm lightly. You've built something impressive, Claire. Natalie's lucky to have you. I drove home thinking the evening had gone well. I didn't know I'd just made my mother panic. Jordan finally looked up from her screen. Claire, what's happening? I didn't answer right away. I turned my phone toward her. She read both messages, then looked at me. Are you canceling the wedding? I'm canceling my contracts, I said. What they do after that is up to them. She closed her laptop slowly. Walk me through it. I pulled the vendor list. 11 names. Evergreen Estate for the venue, Petal Stem for florals, Willamette Catering, a string quartet, 2 photographers, rentals, lighting, a dessert bar instead of a traditional cake. Every contract had my name. Every payment had come from my business card. My mother had insisted on that arrangement 7 months ago. She wanted professional coordination. She didn't want to manage logistics. I'd agreed because I thought I was helping. Jordan stood. I'll clear my afternoon. Tell me what you need. I started writing. I made the first call at 3:52 p.m. Petal Stem answered on the second ring. Simone, it's Claire. I need to cancel the Brennan Calloway order. Silence. Claire, when? Today. The wedding's in 10 days. I know, I understand I'm forfeiting the deposit. I need you to void the final payment scheduled for next week. She hesitated. We'd worked together for 6 years. She knew my voice. She knew I didn't make calls like this. Confirmed, she said quietly. I'll send the email within the hour. I drew a line through her name. I called Willamette Catering next, then the quartet, then the lighting company. Jordan handled the photographers and the rental company. By 4:47 p.m., I had 9 confirmations. The venue was last. Evergreen Estate was the hard one. Not emotionally, financially. I'd paid a $5,000 deposit. The final payment, $15,000, was set to auto-draft Friday morning. I called David, the events manager. Claire, tell me this is good news. I'm canceling the Brennan Calloway wedding. A beat. You're 10 days out. I know. You lose the $5,000. I know, but I can stop the 15 if you process it now. He paused. Claire, you realize what this does to them. They have 10 days, David, that's more notice than I got. He exhaled. I'll send the confirmation in 20 minutes. The email arrived in 18. I drew the final line. My mother called 6 times between 4:30 and 5:15. I didn't answer. Natalie texted at 5:03. Claire, please call me. Mom says something's wrong. I put the phone face down. Jordan looked at me. You okay? I thought about it. I just saved myself $15,000 and a lifetime of showing up where I'm not wanted. She nodded. That's fair. My mother appeared at my office at 6:18 p.m. Jordan had already left. I'd insisted. The front door opened. My mother stepped inside, heels clicking on the tile. She wore the same expression she'd worn at the engagement dinner, controlled, careful. Claire, Mom. This has gone far enough. I didn't close my laptop. Has it? She tried warmth first. Sweetheart, let's talk about this. We are talking. Then she tried cold. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? Then tears. She's always been good at those. I didn't move. Mom, I canceled every vendor contract I signed for Natalie's wedding. Evergreen released the date this afternoon. The Callaways don't have a venue. Her face drained. You're lying. Call David yourself. Or don't, I'm sure he'd find it complicating. She opened her mouth, closed it. I tilted my head. You told me my presence complicates things. I figured the least complicated thing I could do was remove my name from everything. She left without another word. What I didn't know yet. There was a family group chat. And I'd been the subject for 2 years. My cousin Emma texted me that night. Aunt Diana's losing her mind. She's calling vendors, trying to salvage things. I stared at the message. The contracts are in my name, Emma, not hers. I know, she knows, she's trying anyway. A pause, then? Have you seen the family chat? I sat up. What family chat? Oh, Claire, I thought you knew. Knew what? She didn't reply for 3 minutes. Then she sent a screenshot. The group was called Wedding Logistics. It included my mother, my father, my Aunt Linda. The messages went back 2 years. I scrolled to the top. March 2023, my mother, after the wedding. We need to be more selective about family events. Claire doesn't need to be at everything. Aunt Linda, she's intense. Diane, I get it. My father, agreed. Let's see how the engagement period goes. I kept scrolling. November 2023, Aunt Linda, Margaret asked about Claire's business at book club. I redirected. We can't let them think we're, you know. February 2024, my mother, if Claire comes to the rehearsal dinner, we need to seat her away from the Callaways. She doesn't read the room. August 2024, my father, we should handle the wedding invitation directly. Make it seem like she's choosing to step back. I read every message twice. Then I screenshot them all. I didn't confront anyone that night. I sent the screenshots to my college roommate, May, who works in family law. Her response came at 11:34 p.m. Claire, these are evidence. Of what? Conspiracy to alienate. Don't send them yet. They'll do something stupid first. Wait. I didn't send them. I made tea, sat on my couch, looked at the screenshots until the words blurred. Then I went to bed. I slept 9 hours. My mother called Margaret Calloway the next morning. I know because Emma told me. Your mom told Margaret you're having a breakdown, that you canceled everything out of spite. I laughed, actually laughed. What did Margaret say? She said she'd like to speak with you directly. Margaret's assistant called me that afternoon. Warm voice, professional. Ms. Brennan, Mrs. Calloway would like to invite you to tea tomorrow at 2 p.m. if you're available. I'm available. She asks that you bring any documentation related to the wedding planning. I'll bring everything. The Callaways lived in a quiet neighborhood west of downtown. Old trees, brick walkways, houses set back from the street. Margaret met me at the door herself. "Claire, come in." The interior was exactly what I expected: worn rugs, lived-in furniture, a piano with sheet music still open. She poured tea from a ceramic pot. No staff, no performance. "Tell me what happened." I placed 3 pages on the table between us. The vendor cancellation list, the Evergreen Estate contract with my signature, the bank statement showing $31,000 paid out over 7 months. Margaret read each page carefully. After a long silence, she looked up. "Your mother told my husband at the engagement dinner that your business was a hobby you did on weekends." "I employ 6 people," I said evenly. "We did $140,000 in revenue last year." Margaret tapped the bank statement. "And the 31,000? My money, my accounts," Natalie asked. I offered. Margaret was quiet for a long moment. "Why would she say your business was a hobby?" I met her eyes. "Because she was worried you'd realize I'm more stable than my father's investment portfolio." Margaret didn't react. She just nodded once. "Natalie's wedding is in 9 days. What would you like to happen, Claire?" I'd thought about this for 2 days. "I want Natalie to get married. It's not her fault. I just want the Callaways to know who actually paid for the parts that existed." Margaret removed her reading glasses. "Do you want to be there?" "If you invite me, not if my parents do." She stood, walked to a small desk, pulled out a cream-colored card. She wrote my name in careful script. "Claire Brennan, Callaway table." She handed it to me. "I'll see you Saturday." My parents spent the next week scrambling. Emma kept me updated. They called Evergreen. David told them the date was released. They called 3 backup venues, all booked. By Thursday, they'd settled on a hotel ballroom near the convention center. Fluorescent lighting, drop ceilings, a buffet package because plated dinners required 8 weeks' notice. My mother sent a family email explaining the venue change. The reason: unforeseen circumstances with the original location. Emma sent me the email with one word: "Wow." I didn't contact my family for the rest of the week. I bought a simple gray dress. I hung it where I could see it. Natalie came to my apartment Friday night. She looked exhausted. "Claire, Mom says you went to Margaret behind her back." "Margaret invited me to tea." Natalie sat on my couch. "Mom says you're trying to ruin everything." "I'm going to the wedding, Natalie. Margaret invited me personally." Her face shifted: surprise, relief, then fear. "Mom's going to lose it." "She's been losing it for 2 years. You just didn't see it." "What do you mean?" I almost told her about the chat, decided not to. "Not yet." "I mean, Mom's been worried about how I look to the Callaways since the engagement. I was the part of the picture she couldn't edit out." Natalie's eyes filled. She didn't cry, just held them open until they cleared. "I'm sorry, I know." She left. I locked the door, made tea, went to bed early. Saturday, 3:47 p.m. The hotel ballroom had beige carpet and a temporary partition dividing the ceremony space from the reception area. Folding chairs with uneven white covers, grocery store roses in plastic vases. I parked in the guest lot, walked through the lobby, followed the signs. My mother was greeting guests at the entrance. She saw me. Froze mid-sentence. My father, standing beside her, went pale. Aunt Linda, near the gift table, said audibly, "What is she doing here?" Margaret appeared at my side. She took my arm gently. "Diane, Claire is sitting with us. I hope that's all right." My mother's mouth opened, closed. "Of course." Margaret walked me past her into the ballroom. The ceremony was fine. Natalie looked beautiful, Ryan looked steady. They said their vows, exchanged rings. I sat at the Callaway table near the front. My mother kept glancing back at me. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," I clapped. Natalie's eyes found mine across the room. She smiled. The reception was where everything broke. 6:15 p.m., cocktail hour. I stood near the bar with a glass of water. My mother crossed the room toward me, heels sharp on the temporary floor. "How dare you?" I didn't step back, didn't raise my voice. "Mom, you're at a wedding, lower your voice. You ruined this." Louder now, people were starting to look. "I asked you once. Look at this place." Her voice cracked. "Look at what you did." A voice behind her, "Come." Diane. Margaret had crossed the room. Her husband was with her. Ryan was a step behind. "Diane, would you join me for a moment? There's something I'd like to clarify." My mother tried to smile. It didn't land. "Margaret, we don't need to make a scene." "I agree, which is why I'd like to do this now, before the toasts." Margaret didn't wait for an answer. She walked to the center of the cleared floor. My mother had no choice, she followed. Margaret pulled a folded envelope from her handbag. I want to clarify something that's been confusing us. The room went quiet. We were told that Claire runs a small hobby business and didn't contribute much to the wedding planning. My mother's smile tightened. Margaret opened the envelope. These are the original vendor contracts. Venue, Evergreen Estate, $20,000. Catering, $8,500. Florals, $3,200. Photography, music, lighting, rentals. She turned a page. Total value, $46,000. Paid deposits, $31,000. Account holder on every contract, Claire Brennan, Brennan Company. Silence. Claire paid for your daughter's wedding, Margaret said, out of her own business accounts, over 7 months. My father had gone gray. Aunt Linda sat down heavily. Margaret wasn't finished. This is a family group chat dated March of last year. Quote, Margaret can't see too much of Claire. She'll realize where we really came from. My mother made a sound, not a word, a sound. There are 38 similar messages, Margaret continued, planning to, quote, phase Claire out after the wedding. She folded the page. Diane, I want to be very clear. I grew up in a split level in Gresham. My father drove a delivery truck. I built this family's real estate business from a single rental property. She looked at my mother directly. I have no patience for performances, especially ones done for my benefit at someone else's expense. Margaret turned to the family circle. Claire paid for this wedding. You told her she complicates things. The words landed. Aunt Linda's hands were shaking. My father stared at the floor. My mother tried to speak. Margaret, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, Margaret said quietly. You wrote it down. Natalie stepped forward. Mom. Natalie, please. Mom, you told me Claire didn't want to come. You said she was pulling back on her own. I was trying to. You lied. Natalie crossed the floor. She stood beside me. She didn't take my hand, she just stood there. It was enough. I spoke once at my sister's wedding. Not a toast, 3 sentences. I looked at my mother. You told me I complicate things. You spent 2 years planning how to make me disappear quietly. I didn't disappear, I just stopped paying for people who wouldn't say my name. I turned to Natalie. Be happy, Ryan's good for you. I kissed her cheek, then I walked out. Margaret's voice followed me softly. Drive safe, Claire. I cried for 10 minutes in my driveway. Then I made tea. By the time I checked my phone, I had 19 messages. Jordan, are you okay? May, Margaret is a legend, are you okay? Emma, Aunt Linda left right after you did, no one's saying anything. I didn't open my mother's voicemails. I sat on my couch, watched the steam rise from my cup. On Tuesday, a cream-colored envelope arrived. Claire, thank you for what you did, and for what you didn't do. I'd like to have tea quarterly, if you're willing, Margaret. I put the note on my fridge. Natalie texted Sunday afternoon. I'm so sorry, I see it now. I love you, I need some time. Take all the time you need. 6 months later. Brennan Company had booked 4 weddings through Callaway referrals. Margaret never said she was sending people my way, she didn't need to. I reinvested the recovered $15,000 into a second planner. Her name is Kelsey, she's 25 and sharper than I was at her age. My mother called once in November, I didn't answer. My father sent a holiday card, I returned it unopened. Natalie and I met for coffee once a month, slowly, carefully. Margaret and I had tea every 3 months. We talked about business mostly, sometimes about Natalie, never about my mother. I still use the navy pen I signed those contracts with. It sits on my desk next to the binder of every event I've ever planned. Here's what I learned. The people who tell you that you complicate things are usually the ones most afraid of being seen clearly. My mother spent 30 years climbing toward something she thought mattered. When I started looking solid, actually solid, I became the thing that might expose how shaky her foundation was. She didn't push me out because I failed. She pushed me out because I didn't. That's the part that took me 4 years to understand. If you've ever been quietly erased by people who needed you invisible, you're not alone. Some families don't know how to hold 2 truths at once, that they love you, and that they're afraid of you. I learned to stop waiting for them to choose. I chose myself. And that, it turns out, was the only receipt I ever needed to keep.